Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, January the 30th, 2024. I got to start by saying that just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water, they rang the shark warning bell. And it took all day, but right there at that close, that bell rang, and it rang loud. And there were several that did not heed that warning, decided to step back into that water, and they got chewed alive. Now, let's start here with the S&P. Not that I got a lot to unpack, but it just makes it more complicated. Now, we were waiting today, and we had AMD, Google, and Microsoft. And those big three, the minute the bell rang, I just got to tell you, the minute the bell rang, you just saw the indexes start to go crazy. Run it up, run it down, run it up, run it down. I'm like searching and looking around going, did someone report? Is it already out? And it really wasn't. It was just the anticipation. It was just the closing orders, whatever it was pretty wild. Then I think we had Google first, and it comes across the beat on estimates, beat on revenue, etc. But stock tanks. And then came Microsoft. Same deal. Everything looks great. We're doing okay, blah, blah, blah. Stock tanks. Then AMD comes out. And they give it even more glowing. Stock tanks, then rallies. So first of all, the stock was about 172. They took the stock down to 163, ran it back up to 173, 174, and it goes out today, which I believe they're still trying to trade it. It's 163. I just saw 163. That is now 164 bid. You can see they come in and they're bidding it up 50 cents. It's right there. Now there's somebody just came in and run it up to 165. So it's extremely volatile, even after hours, extremely volatile. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Now the index, the NASDAQ, ends up closing down 230, almost 236 points on basically the lows. Somebody gave it a little boost right at that closing at 5 p.m. Eastern. Now, what the heck? Again, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. So I'm going to start here with the S&P. I'm starting on the hourly chart. I'm going to be leaving this as the triangle pattern for wave 4. Now, here is where it could get really sticky. Now, if indeed, because I can count up 5, it's not pretty. This all gets pretty nasty. This was fine. This was okay. This was just like really pretty ugly. And I can just start opening that up. Pretty ugly. Let's just, come on. Go like that. Ugly. Is it just this bizarre, quick triangle, diagonal? Possible. So you can see. Now, what does this tell us? That we could be in a wave 2. So I put the fibs up. So there's the fibs. We've already flipped it through 0.382 for a wave 2. So again, wave 3, wave 4, minute. Minuet wave 1. I remember I was talking about it. I was like, well, I'm really kind of expecting this minute wave 5 to be a little bit more dynamic and really start to reach higher levels. And I had felt that Microsoft would likely come out better. They would receive it well. I didn't really have an opinion on Google, but I thought AMD has already got a downgrade, and it is probably will, futz around with itself. And that's pretty much what it did. But it really just turned and it all went very much down. So I'm going to leave this as a minuet wave one, giving the benefit of the doubt that the market's going to find its footing, turn, and go up. Now, what can this wave one or wave two? Wave one began at 49.02. That's that low from the 28th of January. So just recent, right? So Sunday, during Globex, we reached a low at 49.01.75. Call it 49.02. Where can this wave two not break? 49.02. If it does, in my opinion, folks, another bell is going to be ringing. And it's going to be the bell that is announcing the top. Because I think we're getting into a position where it's like, well, I don't know how to stretch this and move it and flip it and get it to more looking like, okay, we still got room. We're just going to go. We're going to go. Because what we got left is Apple, which, by the way, is basically trading around where it closed. It closed down 370. You know, they're starting to try to prop it up a little bit. But, you know, we've got Apple left. We've got NVIDIA that is now trading down 7 from where it closed. And then, believe me, they took it all the way back on one way and all the way back down. So this is the other thing my observation is, folks. It's like, what are they doing? And how out of control are either the algorithms or the people pushing the buttons? Because I'm seeing stuff, I'm like, what? Are we nuts? Is there somebody that got a little bit, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. But when I start to see this, I'm like, something's out of control here. Something's definitively out of control. And it almost seems like when it ticks down, everyone's like, oh, way too much. And they start jumping back in, and that throws the short cover, and that throws this cover, and that everybody starts joining that party. Because I don't know. Again, it's like, do we have an understanding of what we're doing? Do we believe it's like, why are we doing what we're doing? It was getting kind of crazy. So again, if it's a wave two, a minuet wave two, it cannot break below 49.02. It can't, because then it's not a wave two. Then that high where I'm putting this one is the probability, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hear from somebody from here on YouTube that basically was telling me that, oh yeah, they're okay with my 49.18, but they really believe that minute wave 5 is done. And I'm like, okay, we shall see. We shall see. Because again, this happened today. This additional high happened today. So it's just, it could be it. It could be it if we start to break. Now again, we're not that far. When you consider the high was 40, what was it, 49? Let me go right there. Come on, just get right there, please. Was 49.57. And we closed at 49.33. And so after hours, this is like we knocked 20 points off. If they knock another 20 points off or 30 points off, we're below that level. So, it could get real serious, real quick. But right now, I'm marking it as if we're in a wave two, and here are the support levels. We've already surpassed 49.36. Next up, and by the way, look at that where it closed. The hourly 50 is sitting right on that hourly 50. If it breaks, I think 49.29 is a given. It'll just take that out. And we stand a chance of it getting down to 49.22, 23. And then we've got the 100, simple moving average to 100 period at 49.22, 21.22. So we start to break there. I think we will get more acceleration. Now, we got Globex to kind of walk ourselves through. We got Asia that's going to take a look at seeing what's going on. Then we got Europe that'll take a look to see what's going on, what's coming up. Tomorrow we got the Fed. Now, yep, Treasury Secretary Yellen came out and said what she said. Now, either Powell's going to like rain on her parade or light the fire that Yellen tossed some gasoline on. So, and that would just, this thing would turn on a dime and floor it to the upside. We cannot discount that and say it's not going to happen. So here we are. Now, what I will add from my experience, this is so typical major top action. You know, market just trying to figure it out. Oh no, we got to go up. We have so much positive, and the other side going like, well, it ain't that positive. You know, things aren't looking that good. But we will see. We will see. So I'm going to try and keep it technical. Technically, we cannot break 49.02. If we do, we would be looking for it to come down at least to 48.89, if not below. And if that is it, then this gets labeled minute wave 5, minor wave 5, intermediate wave C, primary wave B. So this is a big top if that is it. Otherwise, we still have levels above. Excuse me. We still have levels above. In fact, minute wave 5, if it's still in force, really projects up to above 5,000. So that still remains in place, but the market now has got to make intent and count clear. So we'll see what the market wants to do tomorrow and see, or even just overnight. Because again, if this breaks overnight, it's going to raise that probability scale pretty high. Because I can't, you know, I have to start to think, where else can I back this out? The only other thing I could really do, I was thinking, but then I don't see it, is that the minute 3 is really finishing here. And that this all goes down a degree. And now we're in minute wave 4 off of this level. I'm not even running the fibs on that because I don't like that count, but it's out there. Need the market to kind of give me show me the way, so to speak. So right now, 3, 4 still in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minuet wave 1, minuet wave 2. Cannot break there. Then it becomes something different. Running the warning flag will be flipping and flying out there that minute wave 5 is complete and we're dropping. But here's the other side of that, okay? If that does become the case, then there is no stopping. It's just going to be like hit it, 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 hit it. And we're going to come flying out of 4,900, come flying out of 4,800 pretty quickly. If there's nothing to bolster to show, yep, we should continue to support upside. There'll be a lot of people that are looking to get out up here before the bottom opens up and it turns into one big old fat black hole. So I'm leaving that out there. Right now, I'm counting it as a minuet wave 1, looking for minuet wave 2. Most common, 50 to 62%. 62% is 49.22. 50% is 49.30. All right, over in the NASDAQ, even more bizarre. Now, this is why I'm kind of thinking that the S&P is going to survive this. Because leaving this in, I had to, moving all this around, takes us back to the original, okay, wave 4, where could it go? And it was as low as 17,371. Well, if I had to move this to A, B, C, B, so no weird triangle pattern here with wave 4 coming in there. And 1, 2, 3, this could have been a 1, but look what it did. It's getting ready to come down and take out what would be the low of wave 4 and the starting point for the wave 1. All right, this is for, it got as, let me see where it got as low as. It got as low as 67, and this low is 57. So again, am I going to get 10 more points? That AMD is now trading at 162 again? Are you going to drop it down? Yeah, I think so. So if it turns into where, that's why this is in parentheses, because it's just telling you that that minute wave 4 is still in progress. In fact, the C wave, both are sitting right there in parentheses. So they're still inactive. Here's the deal. We're looking at wave C will be 100% of wave A at 17,408. Guess where that previous 4, or we're actually over here. Oh, I knew I could find it. The previous 4th wave of wave 3. So we're looking at where this work in my new wave 4 go. Well, the previous 4th is at 17,409. That was that low. Wow. Okay. Kind of sets it up a little bit cleaner. And then 3A2 is 17,372, I'm going to call it. Now, if it breaks 100 and keeps going, the next logical for the C wave is all the way down here at 17,205. We don't get into danger in terms of a minute 4th wave unless it wants to come down and start breaking below 17,048. That's pretty far. Not that it couldn't, but it's pretty far down. But here, unlike the S&P, the NASDAQ didn't get up there. This high is 17,793. This high is 17,735, 36. 60 points away. So it would be a huge failure. Not impossible, but I've not seen one. In all of the sequence on this rally from October of 2022, I've not seen a failure of that size. So doesn't mean it couldn't happen here. But if it does, it's finishing a very large move. And what would kick it off would be this kind of a tumble times 10. That would be a pretty wild kickoff. Now, if I bring this out and just look at it on the 4-hour chart and open it up, right? Here's the whole B wave to date. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our minor 4. We've gone through all of this. So we've gone to 100%. And that's, I think, down in here somewhere. So the next one was 1.618, and that's 18,392. Well, if we're failing, I'm just going to put that back on. That would be something. Let me put that 100% back on there. 17,606. Wow. Okay. So that high, but what did we do? We broke back below it. So what does it mean for all this? I'm not sure. But I'm going to actually take it back off because we have the others. But could this thing fail? Yeah, it could. As far as like the minor wave 5, yeah, well, could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, failure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. And then we start down. Although these are 3s, so this all keeps itself kind of clean. It'll gonna take some time. So we're gonna see. We are gonna see. Now I'm gonna bring this back over. I'm gonna take it out and I'm going to put it back on my other screen, which just kind of opens it up a little bit so we can see a little bit more inside here. And looking at this again, okay? Here we are. And it cannot break, it can't break below this level all the way down. So we got quite a bit. 618 takes us pretty close. Should it get down there? And that C wave would already be breaking 1.618. 2.618 drops it. No can do. Doesn't mean that it can't get itself down there, but it's not going to be in a fourth wave. So here we are. Here we are. And we're going to see what the market wants to do tomorrow. Now, as far as economic data, on Wednesday, we have ADP employment. It could be big. We had the jolts this morning, so it's a little bit of a preview. We have ADP is a market mover. And then we have the employment cost index, 945 Chicago Business Barometer, at 2 p.m. Eastern, the Fed interest rate decision. So it could be a rocky day. It definitely could be a rocky day. The only one of any major that's coming out tomorrow earnings-wise, we have Boeing in the morning, so that's going to be more effective against the S&P because it's definitely not in the NASDAQ. So the big one is Boeing, but then we also have Qualcomm, not Broadcom, Qualcomm, and that's after the market. Other than that, the next big is going to be Thursday, and that's Apple, Meta, and one other, but at least Apple and Meta report on Thursday. And I had somebody else, but I'm not sure. I think those are the two big ones. Okay, so I'm going to finish it up there, folks. And I'm hoping tomorrow we at least get solid moves, not this jerking around moves and these quick and then done and then quick and then done and then boring moves in between. I was like, have a purpose tomorrow. I want it to either go up with a purpose or go down with a purpose, but at least something that as a trader, we can hang our hats on and trade with. Okay, that's it for today. Next update will be on Wednesday, January the 31st.